Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are here with Greg D. Little today for a very special cover reveal. Are you excited about this one, Greg?
I am very excited. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, we are so excited. This is a book two, so it's nice to get out. Everyone who loved The Last Humans, which it's a lot. As every time I'm like, "Ooh, book two is coming out," and they're like, "What? I can't wait! I'm so excited!" So that's fine. Do you get a lot of that?
Yeah, there was a lot of how do you plan to top the last one kind of thing. So I think we managed.
Oh, we more than managed. It was impressive. And by we, you just mean you, because you did it. It was incredible. Because I have to say, I also had my doubts on how you were going to manage to actually reach that same pinnacle you did in The Last Humans. Um, so that it's pretty impressive. So it's a what we are calling this the sci-fi. It's a sci-fi horror thriller. I
Yep,
know we can't find our
something
own
like that.
genres. We're making up the new one, and that's all your fault, Greg. And that will go for all of Greg's books.
Yeah, I have a problem. Uh,
Yeah, it's called Talent. So yeah, this book is impressive, and I have to say, you have the same level of thriller surprise in this one. So it's really, really well done. So we need to see if Stephanie Saw, our amazingly talented cover artist, did it again. What do you think? We ready to reveal it? All right, so we're gonna see. We're gonna reveal book two, The Dying World by Gregory D. Little. Ta-da! Look at that. That's so pretty. Oh, the pre-order's up too. So if you want to get it now so you don't forget. But oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So for a moment, tell us who is on the cover of The Last Humans.
this is Stephanie Palmieri, who is
Oh wait, that's sorry, Dying World. That's the new
oh
one.
the
Sorry.
yes yeah you're throwing me off.
I know, I'm so sorry.
The last humans
Huh?
is is the
Right?
dying world is Stephanie. So
Excellent.
yes. Yes,
So
she gets her
Stephanie's
cover moment.
finding her own in this book, huh?
Yes. It's very much, I would say it's very much her book. Although it's like the previous one, there's an ensemble cast element to it, but I think she would be first among equals in this one.
I
We
agree.
talked about who to put on the cover, and that was what we both agreed on.
Yeah, she definitely makes more things happen than anyone else. So but we still have some of our favorite characters back. So why don't I read the back cover real quick to give everyone a little glimpse of what is inside this beautiful cover for The Dying World. We have which is more deadly, the secrets we keep from each other or the ones we keep from ourselves? Stephanie Palmieri is a woman on a mission. A long hidden technology, the bridge, consumes her every waking moment, a compulsion that seems to come from outside her. All she knows is she has to get it working as fast as possible, while ignoring the sense that she is not herself. Struggling to adjust to a life of school, a home, and a family, Mari Palmieri, Mari's my favorite, I love her, misses her time as a homeless orphan. At least then, she didn't feel the inexplicable urge to kill her adoptive mother, Stephanie. Nor did she have visions of a strange man following her, a man no one else can see. Carl Janel has lost the two things that mattered most, his life in the Lancer Corps and his relationship with Stephanie. Dishonorably discharged for doing his duty, he ekes out a living ratting out criminals for money to police, who just as soon see him dead as a traitor. But when Stephanie approaches him with a new job, he'll be forced to infiltrate those same police to uncover a growing conspiracy that threatens the entire city. As Cole Garden's long buried secrets come to light and the city begins eating itself from the inside out, Stephanie, Mari, and Carl will have to contend with threats, both human and alien, in their desperate efforts to save their dying world. Ooh, it's so exciting. So we have Carl back. I adore Carl. Where did Carl come from?
Oh, I don't actually remember. It's
He's his own thing now. I don't know.
I know I wanted I thought it would be interesting to have a male lead who was older than the typical sort of action hero lead and therefore would make him a bit more considering, a bit more cautious, a bit wiser than the usual kind of hothead. And then he would have to contend with a bunch of younger characters getting him into messes because he sort of gets emotionally entangled with them.
Uh-huh.
And so he still ends up in messes, but they're messes from other people, and he sort of can't help himself. Uh, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Carl. He's one of my favorites as well. He's always fun to write.
Yeah. He is a lot of fun. Actually, in this book, it's not a lot of fun, poor Carl.
Well, nobody has fun in these books. It's,
Well,
it's
I
not
have
that
fun
kind of book.
reading them. Does that count?
Yes, yes, yes. None of the characters have fun in these books. That's not that. They're not those kind of books. Uh,
That's awesome. Yeah, it looks like the crowd is loving that second cover. So there is a little bit more color in it.
Yeah, I think that turquoise really pops, really makes it stand out. I was a big fan of that when you sent me the draft. That it immediately draws the eye, which I
Yeah,
think,
for sure.
yeah.
And the teeth and the gross human-like thing on the
Oh
side,
yeah,
it's so gross, and it
those are
totally fits.
those are my favorite. And in fact, I wrote to you as like I love all the squirming horrible things on the sides. They look terrible and they're great. Um,
Well, that's the horror part, right? There's definitely
that's
horror
right.
in this. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Dave says, "Hey," and it looks amazing. Congrats. Thanks, Dave.
Yes, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We have to say that Stephanie is one talented artist. We were lucky to find her. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
book two. So this is book two. This is not the first book two you have written, but book twos are notoriously difficult. What was your biggest challenge with this one?
Um, Writing a book two to a book one that, quite frankly, when I wrote it originally, was not intended to be a series. and and when when we linked up and I sent you the draft and you had said, we like to do series, and I said I could do that, and at the time I'm like, yeah, just say you can do that and we'll figure it out.
And
Um,
and you did.
um, So yeah, I mean the biggest challenge was yeah, because obviously those who've read, and we won't spoil it for those who haven't read book one, but for those who have read book one, it ends in a very big twist that is the sort of twist that if it was in a movie, or you might not expect that to be just sort of a standalone thing. Um, a lot of the big twist movies that are sort of built around this big reveal, I feel like they tend to be sort of standalone things because it's hard to follow up that, right? Do you make the second one not about twists because you've already, had the big twist?
Mhm.
That then it sort of feels like you're betraying the premise of the story. But then you have to top it somehow. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but I actually fairly quickly settled on what the big reveal of this one would be, and kind of just went for it. I I thought about maybe we could stall it out for another book and save it for the third book, and I was like, no, let's just go for it, and we'll pick up the pieces at the end and worry about that later. So
Nice. Yeah, Avatar said he's worried about the adoptive child wanting to kill their adoptive parent. This story is about aliens. It's not really a social construct. As you read these books, I'm assuming you've not read The Last Humans then. You will see it has nothing to do with that, I promise. It's nothing about the orphan not being happy that they're adopted. That's not what this is at all.
yeah,
So you'll see. She was actually fairly independent anyways, and she wasn't little. She was a teenager. So you shall see. It's very, very exciting, this book. Trust me, the least amount of her worries was being adopted or not adopted. This she was more worried about being eaten by these aliens. Um, so that's actually why it's clever. The first book, they're running from aliens and trying not to be eaten. And in this book, they have these weird appetites they can't identify. So I think you're really going to appreciate it. Yep. Awesome. All right. So I think it's time to hear your amazing reading. You think you're ready?
yep. I got it.
Yes. All right. So we're going to get our first taste of the inside of the dying world.
All right. This is a bit from Carl's POV here. Renewal ward on a sunny day felt far less dangerous than it did on a rainy night, but Carl found it no less ugly to look at. Easily the most industrial of the city's wards, The people who had built it had not given much thought to aesthetic appeal as opposed to brute functionality. He'd planned on this visit to be the last to this precinct and this ward, at least for a while. Far from becoming used to him, he'd found that too much time spent in the presence of the same officers went over about as well as an offline recycler filled with steadily rotting meat. But now he was going to have to try to convince these officers to let him stick around, and then come around far more frequently. He only hoped the information he could present to them was still valid enough to smooth the way for what he had to do. Deeper into the ward he limped, dread building in every hitching step he took from the tram stop. At last, he stumped in through the precinct's double doors to find a familiar face smiling widely at him. Well, look here, it's our station mascot. A few barks of laughter from the other officers going about their shifts punctuated the man's words. Officer Friendly, Dawkins was his actual name, was still a fairly young man, but with a clear view of middle age approaching. As such, the zeal typical of young law enforcement officers, or lancers, had dulled. At least that was Carl's assessment of the man. Dawkins was his usual level of friendliness, which was to say he still tolerated Carl. What have you got for us, old man? Can I assume you are here to once again help us protect and serve our fair city? Carl had to hand it to him. In word and tone, Friendly was an expert at striding the line between good-natured ribbing and edged comments. Just a few locations you might be interested in, Carl said. He'd spent all day tracking down 2 more leads in a desperate attempt to bolster his resume, so to speak. Assuming I'm not too old and slow, and you haven't already found Vitarelli, Parsons, and Delacruz, of course. You mean you don't do this out of your sense of civic duty? Gramps, I'm shocked. Still, his eyes glittered. 3 open cases taken off the board was not nothing. Carl took this as an encouraging sign and gave himself the go-ahead to proceed with his plan. He had always been as meek as a mouse, any mouse save Mari, in his precinct visits. The police didn't always start out knowing who he was, but they figured it out eventually. Be useful, be unassuming, be submissive. Take whatever shit they handed you as long as it was purely verbal in nature. That was his credo. His new tasking, however, required a new approach. Sorry to disappoint, but sense of civic duty is about used up, I'm afraid. He gave Friendly a calculated, knowing look. I'm sure you understand. Oh, we understand, Friendly said. His voice had changed. There was still humor in his tone, but only just. The edge was winning out. Time to pull back before Carl got too far out on this limb. He raised his hands in mock surrender. Sorry, officer, I forgot myself. I've just had a day, and I don't think any of us here give a fuck about your day, the suddenly not so friendly officer said. His tone remained mild throughout, but all trace of warmth or familiarity was gone. I'm not sure what you think our relationship is here, but just because I smile when you come limping in here through that door like a dying dog, we are not at shoot the shit like we're work bros level, and we never will be. Understood, Carl said, desperate to stem the flood before it swept him away. All around the precinct lobby, hard eyes were being leveled at him. Do you? We had a detective go missing just last night, and you can bet he ain't showing up back alive. They never do when it goes down like that, and he's the 3rd this month. He spat, though Carl thought it was more performance than projectile. Officer Dawkins, I didn't mean to offend. Carl fought hard not to flail. To be honest, I didn't come here to seek you specifically. I was told there was an Arjun Khatri here. Friendly's nostrils flared, and Carl realized he'd stepped in it yet again. Of course, he gets to take credit for what you turn up. Ask to talk to a different officer, and that sounds like I'm trying to polish someone else's badge. Stupid old man. Friendly snapped his fingers. The sound was shockingly loud in the sudden quiet. Hey, Khatri, he shouted, grabbing the attention of a dark-skinned man with curly black hair. You expecting a message from former Lance Commander Carl Yonel? Not in the slightest, Arjun Khatri said stiffly from behind the front desk. Great, thanks for being on top of that, Gianna. Carl didn't know her well, but he knew it was unlike Stephanie's assistant to be late on anything ever. Of course, given the mood in the room, maybe Officer Khatri was just lying to avoid having Friendly's guns turned on him. Sorry, Gramps. Looks like you're dealing with me, Friendly said. Give me your information, and if it's good, you can come back for the money after we take out the trash. And then I don't want to see you here again. A few lowlifes mulched ain't worth my self-respect. Carl didn't miss the subtle threat, and his stomach churned at the seeming confirmation of so many rumors. Maybe he's just bluffing. It didn't matter. Got to reel this back before I lose control for good. the idea that he never had control almost made him laugh.
Poor Carl. He was not made for undercover work, just for the record.
No, he's way too bluff and straightforward.
He's way too honest, man. But anything for Stephanie.
Yes,
Anything for
yes.
Mari.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We're so excited for this next book. So what are you doing for book 3? Fill us in. I'm just curious. I don't.
I've got it laid out. It's good. It'll be a bit different than this one. That's an understatement, but
Well, I find it really fascinating that this is that you just sit down and write. You don't have like extensive outlines. And yet you have these twists and turns and like incredible things in that most people have to really engineer to make happen. So I'm just wondering, like, what happened when you were a child?
I don't know. The I don't. This is just always what I've done. So it's hard for me to say why I do this versus something else. I do know that when I was a kid, I guess the first sign that I should have recognized was I would watch TV shows or read books or movies or play video games, and I would imagine how the stories would continue on after the fact, because endings were no fun. Um, and so I don't know. I generally I'll have an ending in mind. If I don't have one when I first start, I come up with it pretty fast, and then I kind of engineer the book around getting to that point in a way that seems exciting and interesting to me. So, um,
Well, it's pretty impressive, I have to say. So yeah, Dave says no outlines. That's sorcery. I agree, Dave. I don't get it. It is definitely some kind of sorcery. And McCullen, sorry, I'm trying to see it, and it's green on my black screen, and the sunlight is trying to get my monitor. Very mean sunlight. It says interesting to get Carl's POV in this one. It is. It's pretty cool. You'll like it. He's a big part of this novel. The last one, he was key part, but not a big part, right? This part, he's key and a big part. So it's pretty impressive to see him find his own voice. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So definitely horror sci-fi. So who do you think would enjoy this book?
Oh man. I mean, anyone who's a fan of, twisty thrillers or I always, um I don't know, if you're not afraid of a little alien monster fun, gross, if that idea sounds more fun to you than terrifying or unpleasant, you will be uh, this book will be right up your alley. If you enjoy, it's very fast paced. The first one was too. They're both extremely speedy reads. In fact, I had one. I have it on good authority that one reader read the first book in a single sitting. They just.
Well, you have to know. Yeah, I get that, right? Because you started, you're like, but I have to know.
Yeah.
And you did it twice. I mean, that's impressive. So yeah, it kind of reminds me, like, if you really like Black Mirror, you'd really like these books. That's definitely same fan base, man. Same fan base. Let's see. What kind of alien monsters fun? What kind of alien monster fun? I mean, alien monsters are always fun. What are you talking about, right? I mean, that totally works.
Specifically, like these are the sort of shape shifting. The xenomorph is not super far off from the alien revenants in this series. If you haven't read the first one, and they're a little insectile. They can change their shape, and there's a danger of getting any kind of injury whatsoever in this world. Because you risk developing a condition called hypermutation, which is usually fatal, and will result in death, as fatal things do, and you get a lot more information about where that comes from and what's going on with that in this book. So I will drop that little tease.
Yeah, I love that. After the big reveal at the end of book 1, then you're like, wait, what? So book 2 definitely explains it and then gives you more, wait, what? You're like,
Yes.
okay, yeah. Wait, what? It's awesome. So, no, really well done. I am impressed. And if you are ready for the pre-order, just up there, and then you can also get book 1. I mean, the ebook is $4.99, so I mean, $5 you can start this journey. So that one is up
Hmm.
there too if you want to get started. And the launch date is Tuesday, April 25th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
April 25th. It'll be right here on twitch.tv/Cursed Dragonship at 8 p.m. Central. And Greg will be giving away 2 signed copies. So you
Yes.
can also get some signed copies. So come on over. Or if you're in Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. So it's up there.
Yes. Friday says $4.99, and then your Sunday is gone. Yes. Well,
That's
I won't.
also true.
I won't apologize for that. But yes, you will lose some time. It's true. Just think of how much time I lost writing it, and
Or me editing it. I mean, I loved it. Oh, Dave did ask if you don't have an outline, do you have to like go back and fix a whole bunch of stuff?
Yeah, I do. No, I mean, that short answer is yeah. If I outlined, I would have a lot less rewriting, and it's just I've accepted it as part of my process that there'll be a certain percentage of the book that I have to go back and rewrite because what I've written isn't working for it. And generally I'll hop around and write scenes that interest me, and then at a certain point I'll start at the beginning and just go through and fill in all the gaps. And sometimes you're filling in the gaps and you find a scene that you wrote like a month ago and you're like, oh, this doesn't work at all anymore. I have to scrap this and write something new because it just doesn't fit where the story went. So yeah, it's not the most efficient writing process for sure. But because I derive so much enjoyment from the discovering the story as I go, I think if I had to figure out the main arc of the story all the details in an outline beforehand, I joke around that I wouldn't write the book because the fun part would be over. And I would
Kill
just
the
be at
magic.
the drudgery part of actually writing it. So
So what I'm hearing is you do outline. They're just really long, extensive outlines.
I outline by writing it.
That's right.
It's a book. Yes, I do book length outlines. Yes,
That's
there you
right.
go.
I love it. I love it. Well,
Yes,
congratulations on book 2.
thank
This is
you.
what, your 6th book?
It is. Yeah,
That's
yeah. It's hard to
impressive, man.
believe. Hard to believe.
No, I believe
Yep.
it. That's really, really well done. Congratulations. So we can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see you soon. So I think we'll
I'm
see
very
you
excited.
here actually in a couple weeks at Righting Wrongs.
Yes, yeah, yeah. You guys have fun at Superstars. I can't make it, but
Oh, sorry.
I will be thinking about you and recovering from surgery. So
Excellent. You must recover well. I mean, we need to know what happens next.
yeah, don't worry. I'm
It's
very
not hand
excited.
surgery.
Whenever I'm very excited about the ending of the book I'm working on, I know it's going well because when I get that kind of like uh that's yeah, with apologies to readers, I do like to find ways to make you guys want to throw the book against the wall. So
Well, we totally hate it. That's why we keep buying them and reading them in one night. But whatever. All right. You are awesome, Greg. Thank you very much. We wish you well, and we'll see you for the launch.
thank you,
Bye,
Kelly.
everyone.
Looking
Thank
forward
you
to
for
it.
coming.